It's January. That means March is almost here, and that means it's almost next gen time. We just opened the link for the next gen showcase. So just really quick for those new to this or have seen the next gen social media stuff popping up and want to know more, just straightforward. The next gen showcase by GASO. Why? Lyndon, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, what have we been doing this 5 years now since it's been rebranded to Next Gen, focusing in on the freshman and sophomore classes especially. Um, and in those 5 years, I cannot tell you how many players have helped themselves at this 1 day camp, and that's not just from a perspective of getting on our radar, getting familiar with us, allowing us to see a body of work from these prospects, but also it's good for these kids because they get to kind of get the lay of the land, see what the competition out there is. They're still competing for these scholarship spots for these NIL deals now. In this day and age. But like, it's one of those things where it allows these players to not only get a feel for where they are, to see how they stack up against players not just from in their district but from all over the state, but it also can open their eyes to see, what, if I want to get to this level of prospect, I need to improve at X, Y, and Z to be able to say that I am this level of dude. So that's always a really good thing, and identifying it while you're young, not waiting till your senior year to figure out, okay, I got to work on my shooting, I got to work on my decision making. Really helps these kids, and it's a great product for everybody, and I can't recommend it enough.
Absolutely. Tim, what about you? What's the why for the next gen showcase?
It's a big deal. Lyndon kind of touched on it a little bit. And so it makes so much sense because you can find out just where you're at. I look at it as a measuring stick, for those that showed up, last year in Houston, they were able to kind of look across and see arguably some of the top 28s, and 27s in the state right now. And so when you can look across and kind of see those guys kind of coming in, setting the tone as they did in that particular instance, you get to kind of see where you are. Linda also touched on the fact that, not only us get to kind of recognize it, but, parents themselves, so when they're bringing their kids, there's some reality that gets to kick in. And it's like, hey, I could see why this kid here is being talked about this much or where he's rated at just because he's that. Or maybe, hey, we're not that far off. Maybe we need to get Jim, clean up on a few things to try to get ourselves in that conversation just because, it's a true evaluation where you kind of see good on good. We get good skill sessions going on. We get good games going on where you get to kind of see who's willing to compete, who's able to work in, in sometimes some adverse situations, and who can kind of manufacture their way, through some things, which all adds up at the end of the day when we start talking about that body of work.
Absolutely. When I sit there at 8:30 and I look around at all the campers sitting right there, I mean, it's the best of the best. And that's just from just the talent wise. These kids are so young that when I sit there and say this is an opportunity, this is a real opportunity. It's not an all-star camp, regardless of how much talent's in there. This is a safe, honest, organized opportunity for these kids to figure it out and start to see what it really looks like. Like you said, Tim, it's there's going to be honesty involved in that gym. Parents are going to see what it looks like, whether they want to believe it or not. They're going to see what levels there are. They're just going to see what work ethics there are, and you're going to put these kids on a court and go head to head. But at the end of the day, it's not make it or break it in that right there. It's just the opportunity, and it allows everybody to go home, figure out what they really need to work on, and that's what we pride ourselves on is putting everybody in a safe. There's no politics. We're not doing an all-star camp where we're ranking prospects and we're doing handshakes for this program over here. It's not that. Like it's not. We're not running away doing rankings over 3 basketball games and some skill sessions. It's just if you give us more chances to see these kids at GASO and just introducing them to what this is going to look like for the next 4 years as a voice in the state. So I'm very excited for that. This thing always starts to pick up when I drop that first commitment list of some real killers,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm really excited for some of those 2030s that will be finishing their 8th grade and getting ready for high school that are going to be in the gym. But it's going to be loaded as always, and we're excited. And I always say this: we're hosting in Dallas in March, but it's a statewide event, and the state's really pulled up from all over the regions. And I continue to hope that's a trend for this March coming up. So Next Gen Showcase, see it GASO Next Gen social medias for more information.